Long ago, in a lush, verdant land cradled by rivers and streams, there was a boy named Kofi. He lived in a small village where every sunrise brought the sounds of children's laughter and the hum of daily work. But Kofi was different. While others played or walked the fields, Kofi spent his time by the great river, gazing into its flowing waters as though seeking answers. The villagers often whispered about him. "That boy has his head in the clouds," one elder said. "He dreams too big for a poor orphan," another added. But Kofi paid them no mind. His heart burned with ambition. His mother had once told him, "The river sees all and knows all. It holds the secrets of life." Though his mother had passed on years ago, Kofi clung to her words. He believed that the river held his destiny. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold, Kofi sat by the riverbank. He looked at his reflection in the water, his face thin and weary, but his eyes alive with determination. "I will be more than this," he whispered to the river. "One day, I will be a king." As his words faded into the air, the river began to shimmer unnaturally. The waters grew still, then parted as a figure emerged. She was unlike anything Kofi had ever seen. Her skin glowed like the moon, her hair flowed like dark waves, and her eyes held the depth of the ocean. This was Mami Wata, the water spirit. "Kofi," she said, her voice as smooth as the current yet filled with power. "You have called to me with your dreams. Why do you seek the throne?" Kofi, though awestruck, found his voice. "I want to change my fate. I want to help my people and make them proud." Mami Wata studied him for a moment, her expression unreadable. "To dream is easy, but to become a king requires more than words. Are you willing to prove yourself?" "Yes," Kofi said without hesitation. "Very well," Mami Wata replied. "But the path will not be easy. You must face 3 trials, each testing a quality a king must possess: courage, wisdom, and compassion. If you succeed, you may claim your destiny. If you fail," she paused, and the water behind her rippled ominously, "you will remain in my realm forever." Kofi felt a shiver run through him but nodded. "I am ready." With that, Mami Wata extended her hand. Kofi took it, and the world around him dissolved into water. He found himself in an underwater kingdom unlike anything he had ever imagined. The core glowed with ethereal light, fish with shimmering scales darted around, and the water itself seemed alive, pulsing with energy. Mami Wata led Kofi to a dark, foreboding cave. "Inside, your fears will come to life," she said. "Face them, or they will consume you." Kofi stepped into the cavern, and immediately, the air grew heavy. Shadows began to form around him, taking shapes he recognized: the sneering faces of villagers, the sorrowful figure of his mother, the haunting image of his father's lifeless body. The voices of doubt and despair echoed around him. "You'll never be a king," they taunted. "You're nothing but a foolish boy." Tears stung Kofi's eyes, but he remembered his mother's words: "Courage is not the absence of fear but the strength to face it." Gritting his teeth, he stepped forward, shouting into the darkness, "I will not give up." The shadows dissolved, and the cave filled with light. Next, Mami Wata brought Kofi to a vast seabed strewn with countless stones. Among these lies a single pearl. Find it, and you pass the trial of wisdom. Kofi knelt among the stones, turning them over one by one. Hours passed, and frustration began to set in. Then he remembered Mami Wata's earlier words: "The river listens." Closing his eyes, he focused not on what he saw but what he felt. Slowly, he began to hear a faint, melodic hum. Guided by the sound, he reached out and found the pearl. For the final trial, Kofi came upon a fish trapped in a tangle of sharp coral. Its scales were dull, and its movements weak. "Help me," the fish pleaded. "Free me, and I will repay you." Kofi hesitated. Time was running out, and he feared he would fail if he delayed. But his heart ached for the creature. He carefully untangled the fish, cutting his hands on the sharp coral. As soon as the fish was free, it transformed into a radiant spirit. "Thank you, Kofi," it said. "Compassion is the greatest strength of a king. You have passed the final trial." Mami Wata appeared before Kofi, her face glowing with pride. "You have proven yourself worthy. But remember, a king does not seek power for himself. A true king serves his people." With a wave of her hand, Kofi was lifted out of the water and returned to his village. But the peace he had left behind was gone. The village was under siege by a rival tribe. Chaos reigned as families fled and warriors fought. Drawing on the lessons he had learned, Kofi stepped forward. He rallied the villagers, uniting them under a common purpose. He spoke with wisdom, negotiated with the rival tribe, and showed compassion by offering peace instead of vengeance. The elders, impressed by his leadership, crowned him king. Under Kofi's rule, the village prospered, and peace flourished. Years later, Kofi stood by the river, now a wise and beloved king. The waters shimmered, and he felt Mami Wata's presence. He bowed his head in gratitude. The river continued to flow, carrying Kofi's story to all who would listen. It whispered of a boy who dreamed of greatness and found it, not through power, but through courage, wisdom, and compassion. And so, the legend of Kofi and the water spirit lived on, inspiring generations to come.